Hello there, here is your weekly look at all matters money business Africa. Coming up, renewable energy is still underexploited on the continent. What are the challenges and solutions? In Zimbabwe, there is worry following the government's decision to suspend trade on the stock exchange due to the collapse of the local currency and widening gender inequalities due to the coronavirus pandemic. Organizations like the World Bank are urging support for women in the face of economic shocks. What is the status of renewable energy in Africa? That is the question often asked as research studies continuously show that Africa has low energy potential, yet the International Renewable Energy Agency estimates the continent's renewable energy capacity could reach 310 gigawatts by 2020. Here's a brief overview by Serge Kofi and Claudian Sono.
Renewable energies remain an unexploited form of power in the vast Africa. With its unimaginable potential, researchers believe that if well exploited, it can serve millions of households across the continent. In 2018, the total hydropower production capacity of the continent amounted to more than 35,000 megawatts. Solar energy remains a real challenge for Africa. In 2017, 4.6 terawatt-hours of electricity from solar energy were produced on the continent, while its theoretical potential is estimated at more than 60 million terawatts per year. The wind potential for its part is estimated at 1,300 megawatts, which is considerable but less evenly distributed than the solar resources. Biomass is now considered an asset for the continent and provides the bulk of Africa's supply. However, biogas will not be enough. According to experts, a switch to propane gas is needed to combat deforestation and desertification. At present, only 5 African countries have the potential to meet the challenges of the fourth industrial revolution.
So, what are these solutions and what are the challenges the continent is facing in terms of renewable energies? We talk about this with Astria Fataki, founder of Energy Generation, a Pan-African organization consulting with African leaders on energy development. Hello, Astria, and thank you for joining us.
Hello, and thanks for the invitation.
There's talk of renewable energy as a driver of development in Africa. How do you gauge the continent's potential?
So when we talk about renewable energies, it is important for us to first of all think of energy in terms of development, since energy is a real vector of socio-economic development for countries and communities around the world. They allow us to produce energy at an affordable cost on the one hand, and on the other hand, they also allow us to be part of the problem of environmental protection, since we need this energy transition today in order to reduce, for example, the effects of global warming. And we must also consider energies such as geothermal or hydroelectric power, which are technologies with a very high potential for the continent in particular. We can think of emblematic projects such as the INGA projects in the Democratic Republic of Congo or the geothermal projects being developed in Kenya, for example.
Now, even with these advantages and potential in Africa, what is delaying us?
Now, when we talk about delays, we will inevitably think of the weight of certain historical events whose influence on the process of electrification of the continent and the development of its infrastructures in general cannot be neglected. Today, most African countries have tools at their disposal to develop their own energy infrastructures. The obstacles that we will meet, in my opinion, will be a weak presence of mobilization of internal resources of the continent. That is to say that, up until now, Africa still depends on foreign capital, foreign private initiatives, and foreign human resources for the management of projects and others.
étrangères pour la gestion.
So I think that for
Des
Africa to
projets
be
et autres.
able
Donc,
to
je pense
take
que
ownership of
vraiment
this
pour que l'Afrique puisse
electrification
s'approprier
process
ce
and really
processus
assert its
d'électrification et puis
energy
vraiment
sovereignty,
affirmer
it
sa
is
souveraineté
important that it develops
énergétique, il est
financing
important qu'elle
mechanisms
développe
as well
aussi
as
bien
technologies that are
des
appropriate for the
mécanismes de
continent,
financement, mais aussi des
its
technologies
problems,
qui soient
and
appropriées
also for each
au
country
continent, à
according
ses
to its
problématiques et aussi du coup
particularities.
à chaque pays en fonction de ses particularités.
What would be the avenues for growth for African countries?
Pour moi, il est essentiel que
Whether in the energy
les
sector
pays
or
africains
in
en fait
other sectors, it is
investissent dans
essential
l'éducation.
that
Il faut
African
vraiment
countries
investir
actually
dans les
invest in
jeunes qui sont
education.
aujourd'hui sur le marché de
We
l'emploi
really need to
prêts
invest
à
in
s'y
young
rendre
people who
avec
are
vraiment
on
des
the job
programmes de
market or
renforcement
who are ready
des
to go there
capacités et
with
des
capacity
compétences, donc des
building
formations très
programs and
qualifiantes
skills
pour
in
pouvoir
very
vraiment
qualifying training
booster, si
to be
j'ose dire, le
able to
développement
really boost the
socio-économique du continent sur ces
socio-economic development
secteurs
of the
primaires
continent
qui, selon
in
moi,
these
sont
primary
l'énergie,
sectors, which,
la
in my
santé
opinion,
et le
are
secteur
energy,
agroalimentaire.
health,
Pour moi,
and the
c'est
agro-food
essentiel.
sector.
Et la
These, in
deuxième
my
piste
opinion, are
qui devrait suivre
essential.
en
And
termes
the
de
second path
développement
that should be
socio-économique,
followed
ce
in
serait
terms of
vraiment
socio-economic development
l'entrepreneuriat
is
conscient de
entrepreneurship,
la nature ou
nature
même
awareness,
l'utilisation des
awareness of the
ressources
use of natural
naturelles,
resources,
conscience
of the human being,
de
of
l'humain,
their
de
development,
son
of their
développement, de
social
son bien-être
well-being, and
social
awareness, of course, of
et
future
conscient bien sûr des
generations.
générations futures, c'est-à-dire
That is to say,
aller vers
going
un
towards
entrepreneuriat
entrepreneurship and
et un
capitalism in
capitalisme
general
en général
that
qui
is
soit
responsible for the
responsable,
well-being of
donc
the people who are here
pour
today
le
and future
bien-être des
generations.
personnes qui sont présentes aujourd'hui, mais aussi des générations futures.
Thank you, Astria Fataki, for these insights.
Thank you.
After the break, we'll see how the Zimbabwean government has halted trade on the stock exchange to protect the local currency. See you in a minute.